Campeones, campeones, oe, oe, oe. Campeones, campeones, oe, oe, oe. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is May 15th, 2025, and today is a historic day because Barcelona just defeated Espanyol 0-2, and with that victory, Barcelona are officially, I'll say that again, officially champions of La Liga 2024-2025 season. And with that, Barcelona have completed a double winning the La Liga title and also Copa del Rey. And of course, we do have the Spanish Super Cup as well. This is the post-match live analysis. We have a lot to discuss. So let's begin. Campeones, oe, oe, oe. Campeones, campeones, oe, oe, oe. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. This is the post-match live analysis where we analyze Barcelona matches as soon as they end. And of course, where I get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments, answering your questions, and getting that discussion going. If you haven't hit the like button yet, even though the video just started, make sure you do. Also subscribe and drop a comment because it helps the channel grow. And having said all that, I have to say that. Let's talk about today's match because, ladies and gentlemen, today, May 15th, 2025, is a historical day. It's a historical day because Barcelona just became champions of La Liga for the 2024-2025 season after defeating Espanyol 0-2 with a cold, freezing cold goal by Lamine Yamal and another great goal by Fermín López, who had to replicate his goal from Real Madrid. That was unfortunately ruled out. I want to say something bad, but I'm going to contain myself because today is a happy day. But Fermín López, scoring that goal that they ruled out against Madrid. But nonetheless, the important news today is that Barcelona are La Liga champions. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are champions. And this is a historic championship. This is a historic season. Not because we won La Liga, because we've won that 28 times now. Not because we won the Copa del Rey, because we've won that 32 times. Not because we won the Spanish Super Cup, because we've won that 15 times. Not even because we won a double, because we've done that 9 times. But no, ladies and gentlemen, this season is historic because given where we were last season. Again, this season is historic not because of the trophies that we won, but because where we were last season. Because last season, this Barcelona was an absolute shambles. Barcelona were an absolute shambles. Not only did they not win absolutely anything, but this team was an absolute joke in all of Europe. Every team would thrash us. Every team would defeat us. Every team would make us suffer. And this team was an absolute shambles in such a short period of time. We went from being an absolute joke of Europe to being the best team in Europe. Because even though we didn't make it to the Champions League final, we are still the best team in Europe. And I have absolutely no doubt that had we protected that 2-3 lead in the second leg of the semifinals of the Champions League, I have no doubt that this team would have won that treble, which of course is unfortunate, but nonetheless, it doesn't take away from what a great season that this team has had, a historical season, because again, given where we were last season and given where we are right now, it is absolutely historic because no other coach that I can remember has been able to transfer a team in such a short period of time. And you might say, well, Mo, hold on. Pep Guardiola won a lot of things during his first season. Yes, absolutely. But let's not forget, Pep Guardiola had really, really important players. Some of the best players in the world, whether it be Iniesta, Xavi, Piqué, Puyol. He had high caliber players. And again, I'm not taking away, of course, anything from Pep. I'm not saying Flick is better than Pep. No way. Pep Guardiola is the best coach in our history. But given The transformation of this team in such a short period of time makes this season historic, because I've never seen a coach transform a team in such a short period of time. And all of this is thanks to Hansi Dieter Flick, who's been able to do a miracle with this team. It's also thanks to his staff that have been able to also do miracles with this team, whether it was keeping the players fit, like Pedri, who was getting injured every other day. In this season, he played it all, or any other player. And of course, thanks to these players who believed in Hansi Flick's vision, these players who believed in Hansi Flick's strategy, which on paper sounds absolutely nuts, to have your center back standing in the middle of the field, sometimes in the final third of the field. But these players believed in Hansi Flick's vision. They applied it, and this team became the best team in Europe in only a matter of months. And that's why this season is historic. But that's not the only reason. The second reason why this season is so historic is because how we won this La Liga season. Because like I said, this is not the first time we've won La Liga. This is the 28th time. Nothing special, right? Wrong. Because this team won this La Liga season by being better than every single team, by playing the way Hansi Flick wanted us to play, by creating an identity, a recognizable identity that anyone in the world can recognize. In the team not only believed in that identity, but they stuck to it. No matter what happened, no matter if the team was losing, no matter if we were down 2-3 goals, no matter if we were up 5-7 goals, this team believed in this identity and they stuck to it no matter what. And that's also what made this season historic, because Barcelona, by sticking to its identity no matter what, became the most entertaining team to watch in the entire world. And I cannot remember the last time I had this much fun watching Barcelona play. And I'm not talking about the goals. I'm not talking about the wins or the trophies, but just watching this team apply Hansi Flick's vision on the field. That was entertaining in itself. And I think the last time I watched an entertaining Barcelona like this was probably Luis Enrique with the MSN. And that's the second reason why this season is historic. And the third reason why this season is historic, not only because how well we transformed in such a short period of time and how we became an entertaining team, but how we did it with absolutely no resources. Because let's not forget, not only did Flick transform this team in only a matter of months, but he did it with no signings. Yes, we signed Dani Olmo, sure, but that's only one signing, and he ended up missing half of the season due to injuries. And besides that, Flick had to rely on 16, 17, 18-year-olds. No signings, because anybody can come to a team, a big club, and be like, all right, I want this guy, sign me 5, 6, 7 big stars, and boom, go win something. No. Flick came during the worst time of Barcelona in the recent years with no money, no financial fair play, a team with a bunch of little kids, and he said, that's okay. I got this. And he transformed this team with no resources from the joke of Europe to the best team in Europe in a matter of months with no resources. And this is why this season is historic. This season is so historic that supposedly Real Madrid had the best project in all of Europe. They had a winning project with Bellingham, with Vinicius, with Valverde, with Rodrigo, and then they signed Mbappe, and they're like, that's it. It was already a winning project. Now we bring Mbappe. It's over for everyone. And what did Barcelona do? We beat them 4 times. We beat them in 2 finals, and we beat them 4 times. And we beat them so bad that they went thinking from we have the best project in Europe to all of a sudden we need a reset. Barcelona, in such a short period of time, forced Real Madrid to fire their coach and have to get a new one, and force Real Madrid to now go to the market where they're going to have to sign 4 or 5 players, because they went from we have the best project to all of a sudden we have no project and we need to rebuild and start from scratch. This is how good this Barcelona is, ladies and gentlemen, and the fact that this team did it in such a short period of time with no resources, no signings, with a bunch of academy kids, it makes this season that much more special. And today, not only do I celebrate becoming La Liga champions, not only do I celebrate winning the double, I celebrate this historic season. And I look forward to the future because, ladies and gentlemen, we have a team that can dominate Europe for the next 10 to 15 years. Because let's not forget, Lamine is only 17 years old. Cuarsi is only 18 years old. Balde is only like 20 or 21. We have a very, very young team, a team that's only going to get better because as these players age and mature, they're going to get better. As these players play more time together, they're going to get better because they're going to develop chemistry even more. As Flick spends more time at the club, he's going to get better as a coach as he gets to know his players and his team even better. And if Barcelona makes signings, which they didn't this past summer, this team is only going to get better. This team is young, so we're going to be dominating for the next at least 10 years. And this is why this season is historic. This season is special because we have one hell of a team. And again, it's all thanks to Flick, his staff, and these players who believed in Flick's vision and applied it no matter what. So congratulations to all of us. Congratulations to all culés around the world because, ladies and gentlemen, today is a special day. This season is a special day, and this is only the beginning. I cannot stress that enough. This is only the beginning. Now, let's talk about the actual match because this is supposed to be a match analysis, not a season analysis. But let's talk about the actual match because this is how Hansi Flick started at the match. This was the lineup. Of course, Wojciech Szczesny in goal. We had Ronald Araujo and Andreas Christensen in the two as the pairing. You know, that used to be the usual pairing in previous seasons. We hadn't seen these two players play together for that long. First, because, of course, Christensen was injured for 9 months, and then Araujo had become a substitute. But Araujo and Christensen starting as the two center backs because, of course, Iñigo Martinez was suspended after getting his 5th yellow card in a row in the Clásico match. And then Cuarsi was more of a precaution because apparently he had a stomach virus before a Clásico match. So when Cuarsi played, he ended up, exhausted because he was dehydrated. He didn't have a lot of energy towards the 70th minute because he had just come out of stomach virus. And then he had that clash yesterday in training with Lewandowski where his knee was a little bit hurting. He wasn't injured, but as a precaution, they decided to rest him. So Araujo and Christensen are two center backs. Eddie Garcia, of course, taking the place of Jules Koundé. That's something that I predicted before the match. And then Gerard Martin. That to me was a surprise. I thought Hansi Flick was going to start Balde since now he's fit. But Gerard Martin started in the place of Balde. De Jong and Pedri, obviously the two clear choices for the double pivot. And then we had Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, and Dani Olmo with Robert Lewandowski. Absolutely no surprises there. Now, when the first half started, I think the team was absolutely abysmal. It was a very, very bad match by Barcelona. Espanyol had two very clear chances. And today, Wojciech Szczesny vindicated himself because Wojciech Szczesny had a drop in form, had several matches where he just wasn't up to par. But today, Wojciech Szczesny saved Barcelona. Today, Wojciech Szczesny had really great interceptions and really great stops that helped Barcelona stay not to concede during the first half because the first half was an absolute disaster. The team was just asleep at the wheel. They were circulating the ball very slowly. They were losing the ball a lot. And as a result, Espanyol was constantly counterattacking. And again, they had two shots, which could have easily been goals, but thankfully, they don't have that much talent or that much power up front. So, and thanks to Wojciech Szczesny's stops, it left us with a 0-0 at the halftime. And then I wasn't too worried because, as I've always said, one thing I've learned from Hansi Flick is that he's one hell of a tactician. If something's going bad during the first half, Hansi Flick goes into halftime, reorganizes the team, changes things, makes substitutions, and the second half becomes a completely different half than the first one. Lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. Now, it wasn't a huge improvement, but nonetheless, Barcelona did improve in that they closed down the lines, became a little bit more compact. They closed down the spaces. And as a result, Espanyol didn't really have any clear chances during the second half as opposed to the first half. But nonetheless, Barcelona's attack still left me asking for more. It was still lacking. They weren't really creating that many clear chances. And of course, comes Lamine Yamal. Lamine Yamal, who, ladies and gentlemen, is the best player in the world, undoubtedly, because this is the difference between a Ballon d'Or player, a difference maker, and the rest. Because there goes Lamine Yamal, nothing's going well for Barcelona as far as the attack, no clear chances, nothing's going on, and then he says, "Don't worry, I got this." He gets the ball, cuts in the middle, beautiful shot in the top left corner, and puts Barcelona 0-1. And there comes Fermin Lopez from the bench. Fermin Lopez, who everybody said, oh, he's garbage, he's overrated. Ladies and gentlemen, Fermin Lopez is the most underrated player of this squad because every time he's come off the bench, he has completely changed the dynamics of the team. And that's exactly what happened when Fermin Lopez came off the bench. All of a sudden, he breathed life into Barcelona's attack. Barcelona's attack started looking more threatening. Barcelona's attack started looking more lively. And then, of course, Lamine Yamal gives a pass to Fermin Lopez. He puts a beautiful shot, kind of very similar to the goal against Real Madrid that was ruled a handball, even though it wasn't. And then Barcelona end the match 0-2. They officially become La Liga champions. And, of course, Espanyol, as always, showing us what a small, pathetic little team they are. Fights kind of like erupted. Then they turned on the sprinklers. But Flick, of course, had all the players run into the locker room for safety reasons because we all remember what happened the last time we became La Liga champions in Espanyol field, which is when the fans invaded the pitch and then they try to hurt the players. Hopefully that didn't happen today. But today it was an absolutely historic day. Barcelona becoming champions of La Liga, which is absolutely hilarious because yesterday, as you know, Real Madrid were down 0-1 and had Madrid lost or drew, Barcelona became champions before even playing the Espanyol match. They ended up mounting a comeback and winning 2-1. And I saw a lot of people on social media, I'm not going to say who, including big name YouTubers talking about, oh, La Liga's still alive. We still have a chance. Seriously? You seriously thought you still have a chance? Have you seen your team play that entire season? Your team is absolutely pathetic. Your team doesn't play anything. No tactics, no strategy, nothing. Just 11 players on the field, hoping for the referee to blow the whistle, and you really thought that you had a chance at La Liga, or you really thought that your team even deserved to win La Liga after Barcelona humiliated you in all 4 El Clasico matches? I mean, that's next level delusional. But anyways, we're not going to talk about this other small team called Real Madrid. The important thing today is that Barcelona became La Liga champions. Now, I do want to highlight a few players because today, ladies and gentlemen, Andreas Christensen made a case on why he should stay. Because today, Andreas Christensen was absolutely phenomenal. Now, he's always been phenomenal, of course. This season, we didn't get to see much of it because he was injured for 9 months. And then with Pau Cubarsí and Inigo Martinez becoming the 2 starters, it was kind of like, all right, when is he going to get minutes? We don't know if he's going to be able to show us if he still got it or not. But Andreas Christensen still got it. And today, Andreas Christensen made a clear announcement. I'm here to stay, and I deserve to stay. And I think it's a no-brainer. If Barcelona have to sell a center back, it has to be Araujo over Christensen. And I don't say this lightly because I still believe Araujo is one of the best center backs in Europe. We cannot forget everything that Araujo has done for the team during this past few seasons. But unfortunately, he's just not fitting into Flick's system. And that doesn't mean that's garbage. I don't know why people like to do this. When they see a player is not working out, all of a sudden his garbage is trash. No, you don't have to be garbage or trash. Sometimes you just don't fit. That's fine. Ibrahimovic never fit in our system. Does that mean he's garbage? No, he just didn't fit into Pep Guardiola's system. It happens. You don't have to put players down just to make yourself feel better or just to justify your opinion. It's okay to say Araujo is a great center back. Unfortunately, he doesn't fit here. That's totally fine. But today, Christensen showed that he does fit. And I think it's clear that if we have to choose one or the other, it has to be Christensen staying. And unfortunately, Ronald Araujo leaving. Also, Eric Garcia, another match where Eric Garcia is showing us that he could very well be a substitute for Jules Koundé because today he did another good job in the right back position. And we might not even have to look for a right back to compete with Koundé. I think Eric Garcia is a very good alternative for Jules Koundé when Koundé needs to rest or if Koundé is injured or if Koundé is suspended. I think Eric Garcia is a good substitute. And then something I also saw up front, which I have been seeing a lot lately in the most recent matches of Barcelona, is that we need something better up front. And I'm not trying to take away from Rafinha, who's had an absolutely amazing season, Ballon d'Or kind of numbers. I'm not trying to take away from Lewandowski, who scored 40 goals at 36 years old. I'm not trying to take away from Dani Olmo, who we've all seen what he could do when he's inspired. But I think Lamine Yamal deserves someone a little bit better up there with him because today, all those 3 players were gone. Lewandowski was nowhere to be found. Rafinha was nowhere to be found. Dani Olmo was nowhere to be found. And we just can't have a 17-year-old doing the job of 4 players. We just can't. We desperately need another left winger, someone that can be, I'm not saying at the level of Lamine Yamal, because nobody's at the level of Lamine Yamal. He is the best player in the world, but someone who comes close, where it can help Lamine Yamal, where Lamine Yamal doesn't have to put the entire attack on his back and say, all right, I'm gonna have to carry this attack. Someone that can at least help Lamine Yamal carry the load, because I've seen it a lot now happening where Lamine Yamal is the only one who's doing things up front and everyone else there's just nowhere to be found. But anyways, I don't want to focus on the negatives. I want to focus on the positives, because today, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona are champions. I'll say that again. FC Barcelona are champions of La Liga. Congratulations to all of us culés, because this season has been a historic season, and today is a historic day. 3 trophies, a historic double. It's unfortunate that we didn't make it. That we make it to the Champions League final, but silver lining, maybe this will keep the players motivated, because sometimes when you win it all, it becomes a little bit difficult to be motivated the next season, because you won it all. You're like, but I think maybe not making it to the final, this will keep these players hungry. They will keep them focused. They will keep them motivated, because next season they're going to want to take it all, because they knew how close they were. They were 3 minutes away from winning a treble, well, at least making it to the final. I want to assume that had we make it to the final, we would have won, even though I do believe that. But we're only minutes away from being able to win it all, and we couldn't. And I think this is going to stay with the players, which is a good thing, because this will light a fire under these players next season, and it will keep them motivated. They will keep them hungry. It's unfortunate, but we always got to look at the silver lining. So congratulations to all of us, ladies and gentlemen, because we are champions. Now let's do the comment section. Let's see what everyone's saying. And Richard, my man, Richard, always with his generosity, says, Mo, you're right. This title winning season was sweet. Sweeping Madrid, clinching Espanyol, Madrid going trophyless, Bisca, Barca. Amen, my friend. And again, how entertaining has this season been? 20 plus thrashings, 20 plus matches where Barcelona scored 4 goals or more, or 3 goals or more, something like that. 20 plus thrashings. Let's not forget, last season, a certain someone told us that we were delusional, that thrashings don't exist anymore, that in modern football, thrashings are impossible. And here comes Flick and says, oh yeah, hold my beer. I don't know if he drinks beer. Probably not. 20 plus thrashings. This season has been absolutely insane. 9 plus comebacks, 20 plus thrashings, an average of 3 goals per match. I mean, this season has been absolutely insane. And again, this is why this season is historic. Not because we won La Liga, we've won it 28 times. Not because we won the Copa del Rey, we've won it 32 times. Not because we won the Copa Supercopa, we've won it 15 times. But the fact how we won it, the fact that this team improved so much in such a short period of time, with no signings, no resources, no financial fair play, and how entertaining this team became in such a short period of time. And Richard, again with his generosity, says, oh, and it's sweet because we won in spite of obvious corrupt, diabolical refs and La Liga against us. Bisca Barca, let's go. And yeah, that's another reason why it makes the season that much more special, because how many robberies did we suffer this season, including the one in El Clásico, which was probably the worst one. And yet this team was so good that not even the refs could stop us. This team was so good that not even La Liga's worst financial fair play in Europe could stop us. This team is so good that not even age and inexperience of these young players could stop us. This team is so good that not even Real Madrid, with a Galactico signing of Mbappe, Bellingham, Vinicius, Ballon d'Or winner, could stop us. This team was absolutely incredible this season. And let's not forget, this is only the beginning. We have a very young team. We have a team that will dominate Europe for many more seasons and many more years to come. All right, let's see. What else is everyone saying? Long Wizard says, congrats, Mo. First here, Bisca Barca. Oh, I think Super Ice beat you. He says, hey, Mo, I'm first. And Cornell, what's up, my man? Says, campeones, bro. 8 man. And Cornell reminded me not to fire shots. Cornell's a very good friend of mine. We went to Barcelona together to watch a Barcelona match, and we were on the group text, and I was like, should I fire shots today? But he was like, no, be good, take the dub. So I was like, all right, fine, I'm going to take the dub. So I'm not going to fire shots today. Let's just celebrate today the win, because today was absolutely amazing. By the way, I do want to mention this. There was a little bit of the match had to be halted during the first half. Some people asked me about this. To clarify, is before the match, there was a white car that crashed into a crowd of Espanyol fans that were entering the stadium. I think 12 people were hurt. My thoughts and prayer with those people. I hope nothing serious. I hope everybody recovers well and recovers fine. But the rumor started circulating in the Espanyol side of the stadium amongst the fans that it was a Barcelona fan who had driven his car into the Espanyol fans, kind of like on purpose, right? And that's why someone from the Espanyol supporter section jumped into the field, went up to the Espanyol goalkeeper and said, we need to suspend this match because some Barcelona fans just attacked us. And that's why they halted it. They had to talk to the ref, to the police. It turns out that's not the case. It was a lady who lost control of her vehicle and ended up crashing into the crowd. This was not Barcelona fans crashing their car into the crowd on purpose. I think that's absolutely ridiculous. If anyone does that, I mean, you have to be mentally ill to crash into a crowd of people just because they support another team that's not yours. But that's not the case. It was simply a case of someone who lost control of their vehicle. But I really hope that everybody's fine, that everyone recovers quickly. So my thoughts and prayers are with those fans who unfortunately did got hit by a car. Stefan says, today, truth, justice, and freedom won from lies, oppression, and corruption. Lamine is king of La Liga. Visca el Barça. I have to disagree, my friend. I think Lamine is the king of the world. He's undoubtedly the best player in the world right now. And I confidently can say that. And McBarca, what's up, my man? McBarca says, this season is better than 18-19. We got a heartbreaking semifinal and got some trophies. That's 22-23. This season, we got a heartbreaking semifinal, but with a Spanish treble. Let's not call it a treble. I don't want to be like Madridistas who they win 3 random trophies and they start talking about, oh, we won a treble. And it's like, no. The treble is simple. Champions League, League, Cup. We didn't win that. No treble. Let's not fall into the semantics of Real Madrid, who always are making shit up just to make themselves feel better. Let's not do that. We actually do have 2 trebles, so we don't have to be making anything up and counting like, oh, we won the John Gumper, and we won the Copa del Rey, and we won the Spanish Super Cup, so that's a treble. No. There's only one treble. Champions, Copa, Liga. And another donation, Mustafa says, to think Lamine Yamal will only hit his prime in the next 10 years is satisfying. That's absolute insanity to think that in 10 years, usually players are like, oh, damn, in 10 years he's going to be retired or washed out. No. In 10 years, Lamine is only going to be 27. He's only going to be entering his prime in 10 years. That means he can give us another 15 years of great football. And that's absolute insane. Just insane to think about. Not only that he could give us great football for another 15 years, but in 10 years, only then are we going to be seeing the best football of Lamine. And right now, he's already the best in the world, and he's nowhere close to how good he could be. So can you imagine what he's going to be doing in 10 years? Crazy. And this can only happen at FC Barcelona. This can only happen at La Masia. And La Masia, they had just given us Messi, the best in history. And Messi leaves, and we're like, what are we going to do now? And La Masia says, hold on. I got you guys. Here's another one. He's another alien. Here's freaking Lamine Yamal. You know, La Masia, they had given us Xavi and Iniesta, and we're like, and Buzi. And we're like, damn, what are we going to do now? And La Masia says, don't worry, guys. I got you, Fermin. I got you, Gabi. I got you. Don't worry. And La Masia, they had given us Piqué and Puyol, and then we're like, what are we going to do? And La Masia says, don't worry, guys, I got you. Here's QRC. Incredible. This can only happen at FC Barcelona. And while Real Madrid is talking about, oh, we need to sign this, we need to sign that, Barcelona like, I got it. And by the way, I said this last season. People kept asking me, Mo, what is Barcelona going to do? Madrid is about to sign Mbappe. And I said, who cares? Real Madrid have always spent insane amounts of money on big signings, and we've always been able to compete because we have the best academy in the world, La Masia. And that's exactly what happened. Madrid signed Mbappe, and look where they at. Jay and Terry says, guys, savor the moment. Remember, in the days and years to come, the spirit, the will, the strength of this team. It's been a long time since Barca last had team that felt this powerful. Let's effing go. 100% agree with you. And this is why I say this season is historic. Not because we won these trophies. We've won these trophies a million times before, but because everything this has happened this season. Building such a great team in such a short period of time with no resources, with no financial fair play, and a team that's so young, which means it's going to be dominant for many, many years to come. And again, the most entertaining team to watch in all of Europe. Julio Saleh says, thank you, Hansi. What you've done this season will go down in Barcelona history for decades to come. Thanks for bringing back my love and joy for Barcelona football. Visca Barça, champions. 100% agree with you. It's thanks to Flick, his staff, and of course, these players that believed in Flick's vision. But this has been absolutely amazing. And Gaming with Joel says, what's the update on Araujo? He mustn't sustain an injury. Otherwise, we can't sell him. I think even with an injury, Araujo still has you can still sell him. Like I said, Araujo to me is one of the best center backs in Europe. Just because he doesn't fit in Barcelona doesn't mean he's trash and garbage. Like a lot of people, are quick to say that. People love to throw around the word trash. They're still people. These players are still people. And again, just because you don't fit in a team doesn't make you garbage or trash. It just means you don't fit. So I think Araujo, even if he does get injured, unless it's like some crazy injury where he just like tore his ACL and he's going to be out for a whole year, I think even with an injury, I think Barcelona could sell him because there's plenty of teams that can use Araujo. More traditional teams that need, your traditional center back, which is Araujo, right? Tall, strong, fast, brute force, good in aerial duels. Araujo's a great center back, but in Barcelona, that's not the kind of center back we need, right? Barcelona doesn't necessarily rely on big, strong center backs. Barcelona needs center backs who are technically able, who can have a good vision, who can, do forward passes, who can do build up from the back, which is something that Araujo cannot do. Again, doesn't make him trash or anything. It's just his strengths are now what Barcelona need. Kino says, should we maintain our momentum for the remaining 2 games, or should we allow other players some playing time to evaluate who might be worthy of promotion of the first team? Let me know, Mo. I think the last 2 matches will be a good time to kind of test out players. Give Christensen. I would play Christensen the last 2 remaining match just to see, continue testing him out. I think so far he's shown that he is a better alternative than Araujo to stay. But still, you could still give him 2 more matches to see how he continues doing. And if he continues doing great, then that would be, all right, we're good to go. Like Eddie Garcia, I think the last 2 matches, it'd be a great time to just keep giving Eddie Garcia the starting position on the right back to see, is he truly is a solid alternative to Kunde, or did he just get lucky? Which I don't think he got lucky, but you know what I mean, right? Gerard Martin, I would keep playing him in the left back. Why? Because remember, this was his first season in first division football, and give him the last 2 matches so he can continue getting experience, continue learning, growing, and of course, continue to get more confidence, right? Ansu Fati, not because if we give him the last 2 matches, he might impress and stay. I think that chapter is done, but maybe give him the last 2 matches so he can, get more momentum and hopefully impress other clubs. So I think the last 2 matches are a good time to give players or Pau Victor, for example, maybe give Pau Victor some minutes and have him play and see maybe he has what it takes to stay, or even if he doesn't have what it takes to stay, maybe, as a showcase to other clubs, like, look what this guy can do. He's not good enough for us, but he could be good enough for you, right? So yeah, that's what I would do. I would give minutes to players that haven't got minutes. Pablo Torre, that's what I would do, but we'll see, I guess. Adam says, Flick did very good. He needs to improve on positional play, focus particularly in the opening minutes, and also improve the decision-making overall. I don't know if I would be here. We just won 3 trophies. I don't know if I'm going to be telling Hansi Flick what he needs to do. But hey, if you feel like you could tell Flick what to do, all power to you. King Ramsey says, Mo, what's your player of the season? If I may ask, my man, why are you doing this to me? Personally, it's been Pedri. Wow, caught me off guard. Wasn't expecting this performance from him. It's a very tough question because, we have Rafinha, who did one hell of a season. Of course, Pedri, Lamine, who just to me this season has been his intro. Like last season, obviously we all knew okay, Lamine has a lot of potential, but I think it's this season is where he really like announced himself to the world and said, "I'm here and I'm gonna be the best, and I am the best player in the world." But I think if I have to pick one, gun to my head, I think I would say Pedri too. I think Pedri was the most important player of this team this season. So I absolutely agree. But again, by a tiny, tiny margin, right? This is very, very close. You know, I don't want people next day. Oh, Mo said Lamine sucks. He's the worst player ever, and Pedri's better. No. I think Rafinha, Pedri, Lamine, they're all up there as far as having the best performance of the season, to being the MVPs. But I think Pedri takes it for me. I think Rafinha takes the most improved player. I don't think there's any player on the squad or even in the entire league that has improved as much as Rafinha. Rafinha went from being a mediocre player to being, we're talking about Ballon d'Or numbers, right? He's definitely the most improved. Pedri to me was the best of the this season, and then Lamine he's gonna be the best every season for the next 15 years. I mean, I have no doubt. Bisca Michael says, "Hey Mo, is the offside rule still going to change? The fact that it requires us to have the opponent's whole body in front of the last defender is crazy." I don't know if it is. I'll have to look into it. I don't want to answer, but I do think it needs some reviewing because we've all seen those plays and they've gone in our favor and against us as well. Like the whole, his toe is past the offside line. And it's like, really? Like the whole point of the offside, not offside line, sorry, the offside rule is to not confer an advantage to the attacker, right? You want to kind of like level the playing field, right? Where the defender and attacker are on the same playing field, and whoever wins is because they were faster or they're better or they're more skilled, not because, some unfair advantage like, I was 3 feet behind you. That's the whole purpose of the offside rule. But if your toe, just your toe or the tip of your boot or the hairs on your head are a little bit past the defender, is that really an advantage? It's not. So I do think it needs to be looked at. But I'm sure whatever the rule becomes is always going to be complaints. But I do think that, tip of your boot is not really an advantage. But we'll see. Mike Valencia says this summer will be absolutely crucial for next season. It sucks that Barca has to wait until June 30th to make any signings. Meanwhile, clubs are already making moves. True, but I have to say this. We do have a little bit of a plus or a silver lining, is that this summer is the Club World Cup. And why is that a plus for us? Because there's not going to be a lot of signings while the Club World Cup is going on, right? Because, or at least for players in teams that are participating in it. Because, if you're participating in the Club World Cup, you're focused on the Club World Cup. You're not focused on who you're going to sign with. So that kind of is a little bit of a plus for Barca, because there's going to be a lot of players who's going to stay put until after the Club World Cup is over, and then they'll make moves. And, by then we would know what our financial fair play is. But yes, you're right. It is unfortunate that we have to wait until June 30th to figure out what our situation is. That's, of course, all thanks to, Javier Tebas and his horrendous financial fair play rules that have caused this kind of problems. Not just for Barca, by the way. Every club in La Liga, for the exception of Real Madrid, has suffered under these rules. And my man Hart says, "We are blessed with Lamine Yamal. Let's aim again for a treble next year." Amen, my friend. Amen. And I think the fact that we didn't make it to the final, that we were 3 minutes away from making it to the final, I think that will definitely keep these players motivated to, next year, they're definitely going to go all out to try to, win it all. So I guess that is a silver lining. Of course, I would have preferred that we made it to the final and won a treble, but hey, always got to look for the silver linings, right? By the way, I'm going to send you an email, Hart, probably this weekend, because I'm working on a project I'm very excited about. So we'll talk about it. James says they should divide the Ballon d'Or and give half each to Lamine and half to Rafinha. Rafinha has given all his season. Bro's been running like a mad dog through the season. He ran like a mad dog last season and the one before. The problem is that the last 2 seasons, he was running like a mad dog with no purpose. He was just like a headless chicken. This season, he actually had a purpose and, he did something with his running. But yeah, you're right. I think they should divide it in 3, give 1/3 of the Ballon d'Or to Lamine, 1/3 to Rafinha, and 1/3 to Pedri. Let's see. Eli says, my issue with Araujo has always been mentality and decision making, and I suppose technicality. It makes confusing bonehead plays and looks so nervous with the ball. Yeah, he has made some bonehead moves, mistakes. I do agree with that. IB says, man, like Mo, been a while. I just want to say this league win is the best for me since I started watching Barca since 1991 season. Being is the club had to battle against a corrupted system. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that make it special. Like I said at the beginning of this season is historic. Not because we won these trophies that we've won a million times, but everything else combined, right? How such a short period, how good this team became in such a short period of time with no signings, no financial fair play. Became the most entertaining team in Europe, despite the referees, despite the young age of the players, despite Madrid having the best project in the world, despite all of that. And this is what makes the season so historic. Uncle Joe says, hey, Mo, any time frame on when you will do the financial breakdown video that you mentioned in a previous video? I mean, I could make one in upcoming days, but I'm also going to make one once the fiscal year is over, which is June 30th, because that's when Barcelona will turn over all its paperwork to La Liga. So when Barcelona does that, of course, I'll review everything and I'll make a more detail. But I could make a video of about how much Barcelona has won in all these competitions. But obviously, it's not going to be as detailed as the video once the fiscal year is over, because that video will include not just what we made from winning competitions, but what we made in general from everything, right? Attendance, TV rights, merchandising, sponsorships, etc., etc. Let's see. And Eddie says, we canceled countless goals by the tip of the toe, and offside changing the offside rule is going to cancel our high line strategy. No, I think it's only happened like two times to us. Like 2 times against us where goals that were scored against us got canceled. And I think like 2 or 3 times the same thing where we scored a goal and our goal was canceled because of the tip of the toe. So no, I don't think it's gonna alter our highline strategy that much because it hasn't affected us that much. Let's see. Rootless Robot says, Mo, what a golazo from Lamine in Jamaica. We shout Bomba Clat. I love it. And Trini Barca fan says, Campeones, campeones, ole, ole, ole. Congrats to all from Trinidad and Tobago. Well, thank you, my friend. And yes, congrats to us all. That's a perfect way to end this because, ladies and gentlemen, we are champions. Let's fucking go. Anyways, I will be doing some videos later tonight, so stay tuned to the channel. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. And as always, Visca Barça.